What is up, guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to recap the month of October for my dividend portfolio. I'm going to talk about my buys, my sells, if there were any, spoiler, there weren't any, my best and worst performers, and all the dividends that I received for the month. Before getting into it, let me know down in the comments which companies paid you this month. I would very much like to read those. Maybe there are some great picks that I have to have a look into. Let's go over my portfolio for a second right here. At the end of October, I was set at a market value of 9,822 euros. So scratching the 10,000 euro mark, and I would be very happy if I were able to surpass the 10,000 euros for the end of the month, and I'm pretty certain I can do that. Total amount invested is 7,307 euros, which leaves me with a total gain of 34.4%. And as of right now, I can expect to get 259 euros and 89 cents each year just from dividends without putting any more money into my portfolio or reinvesting dividends even. Now let's jump into my worst and best performers for the month. My third worst performer, which doesn't seem to be able to catch a break, Novo Nordisk, down pretty much exactly 8%. Yeah, I'm sure there were bad news. As a matter of fact, by now it's early November, so I already know that Novo Nordisk reported earnings and they slashed their guidance again, I believe for the fourth time this year, which is really not a good sign. I think with Novo Nordisk, I'm more or less waiting for the turnaround right now. I don't want to add any more shares. My cost basis was already pretty low. But until I can see that the company is actually turning around a little bit and actually has some guidance that they can hit and that they don't have to revise downwards 4 times in a row. Until that happens, I don't think I will be adding any more shares to Novo Nordisk, but I'm happy holding what I already have. My second worst performer was Texas Instruments, down 10% pretty much. For them it's a little bit different because I have a lot more faith and they have outlined their long-term trajectory and what they are planning to do. So here the situation is a little bit different and I am quite happy with picking up more shares at a lower price. And then Evolution AB also reported earnings down 17.6%, not the greatest. And for Evolution AB it's a similar thing to Novo Nordisk, but I'm a little bit more skeptical because the management really is pretty much straight up lying to our face, which normally isn't the best sign, let's put it that way. So I think I will just wait for the next quarter, fourth quarter 2025, and then I might, depending on what the results are and what management is saying, if they don't manage to address the issues and at least lay out a plan to get back to growth, then I really strongly consider selling the stock. My third best performer was MSCI, up 6%. I believe they also reported earnings and earnings were pretty good. Nothing to complain about. Yeah, MSCI is in general a pretty low maintenance business in the sense that there's not really too much they can screw up with. It's similar to like MasterCard or something. I don't really expect any major downside or upside surprises when they report earnings. And again, this quarter, same stuff as usual, decent growth, everything going as planned. As for American Express, they are up 10%. I believe they also report earnings and they were pretty good. I like the fact that for American Express, they mostly target higher income customers and they seem to do a lot better than lower income customers right now, which explains why they have quite good numbers. So this is more or less a bet on well-situated customers to keep spending money, which is, I believe, a pretty good bet to make. And then my best performer, Qualcomm, got some love, up 11%, which is pretty good. I believe that's because they, or at least in part because they announced that they were moving into data center chips, which, if we look at AMD and Nvidia, seems to do wonders for your stock price. So it's probably warranted. In any case, Qualcomm is still pretty cheap, especially compared with the other twos. So yeah, I still think the valuation right now is in terms of buying. I bought 0.124762 shares of MSCI, which means that I'm slowly but surely approaching having one full share. It only will take a few more months, but I will get there, I promise. I also added a new stock to my portfolio in Zoetis, and I bought 0.466 shares of it. And this is a company that I am fairly bullish on long term. I believe they are, moving into a slower growth kind of trajectory, but I still think they can manage double-digit returns over the long term, and so I thought, why not? Especially if I might move out of Novo Nordisk, then I can have my second or then only pharma company, and I believe that Zoetis, out of all the pharma companies, is probably one of the best, so I went with Zoetis. I then bought more shares of Caspi. I added 0.85 shares roughly. The company has sold off a little bit more recently, and I just think the upside potential for the stock is absolutely incredible. Yes, there's a lot of uncertainty because they operate from Kazakhstan, and there's a lot of geopolitical risk and a lot of government risk because it's not exactly the most stable government maybe. And also the economy is very dependent on oil, and so that might also be a risk. So I'm not denying that there's a lot of risk with Caspi, but if they just do half as good as they have done over the past couple of years, there's so much upside in the stock, so I plan on buying more. And then lastly, I bought Texas Instruments, which is also a new stock for my portfolio. And yeah, for them, the thesis is more or less that they are going through a huge capex cycle right now. They are building new fabs, and as soon as they come online, which I believe they said would be the case in 2026, so free cash flow should be back to normal levels in 2027 probably, then they should return to their old growth. And if they actually manage to do that, then today's prices are very, very cheap. So I just bought some of those shares, and I'm planning to add more over the coming months. In terms of dividends, I only received one payment, which is not that much, but in any case, I received 11 euros and 25 cents from VG Properties, and in comparison, last year I also received only one payment, also only VG Properties, but it was a lot less at only 3 euros and 32 cents. And yeah, let's not kid ourselves, most of this is because I bought more shares. Looking at the performance, my portfolio is up, not quite 1%, not the greatest, but if we add dividends into that, it's still not quite at 1%, but it's looking at least a little bit better. And we can also see that because of my recent buys, my forward annual dividend that I expect to receive increased by around 3.5 euros, which is nice to see. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know down in the comments below which companies you plan on buying for the month of November, and I'll see you guys in the next one.